Hi, welcome to my channel. Welcome to DIY Art Plus. So this is a second video for this painting. I'm gonna show you how I paint this background. So if you did not see my first video where I paint this dog, you can check out my first video. And again, now I'm gonna work on this background here. Okay, so now for this painting, I'm gonna use these 4 brushes. I tried to use one of the brushes from here, but I did not use that brush. I'll show you when I use that brush. But again, I'm only going to use these 4 brushes. These 2 are flat brushes. Okay, and these are the 2 flat brushes I'm going to use. I'm also going to use these 2 small brushes. Okay, I'm also going to use these 2 round small brushes. Okay, so this is gonna be mostly for the details. Alright, so let's start with this background. Now I started working from the bottom to up. So I started working on this sand that I'm gonna add here. And for that, I almost used that same color that I already used for the pad, to be honest. So I started adding this color. Now if you like to paint with me, you don't have to do this part, because after I was done with this, I actually am gonna apply green color here. So you're mostly gonna see all the greens here. You're not gonna see a lot of these colors, but I still wanted to share this part with you because I wanted to show you the whole process. So again, I started applying this darker brown on the bottom, and once I was done with that, I started applying a little bit of green around my dog. Now if you also add this type of color in the background, it might be good for you, because you're just not gonna see the green here. You might, if you need a little bit of natural type of ground here, you can use this color. Alright, now I'm gonna use this green here. And I'm mostly gonna use my big flat brush for the background. Alright, so I'm just going around my dog using this mint green shade I have here. If you don't have this color, all you have to do is just take your green and just add a lot of white in it. You're gonna get this color. Okay, so now one more thing, if you notice, the bottom area here and the top area is gonna look slightly little different, because I apply more brown on the bottom, and on the top it's all white on the top. So this green is gonna look slightly little different on the top of the sky area here and on the ground area here. So I mean, if you also want to use this kind of lighter brown tone for the ground, you can also use brown here. Alright, so now I'm gonna start adding some grass here, and I'm still using my same brush, and this time I'm gonna use my brush like this, and then I'm gonna add this type of grass here. So I'm mostly gonna cover the whole thing, but by following this type of brush strokes. So again, I started with the green here, but I'm gonna play around with all different shades of green, especially the bottom area on this painting. And you might wanna just see the full video first if you wanna paint with me again, so that you get more idea what I'm going for. Alright, so now I'm gonna use this darker green, and I'm gonna start adding grass like this. I'm still using my flat brush here, and just using tip of my brush, lightly brushing it and kind of adding a little curved line, not just adding kind of straight line here. So you can see all the grass here now. Now I'm gonna go back with some more light green here, and I'm gonna go back with some green again to just give a little different shade and more texture on this grass. Now this background, I'm gonna add like a flower field here. So I'm just trying to figure out where the roads or the whatever it's called are, and between those flower field. I hope that makes sense. And in the middle here, it's just a little road here where my dog is coming from basically. So this is where it's gonna be the road, and I'm gonna come all the way to the top here. This is all the ground. And if you are also painting with me this painting, you can also watch me first for this part, and then you can do this part. It will be easier for you to understand what exactly I'm doing here. Okay, so on the other side, I'm gonna add a little bit more lines like this, and between each line I'm gonna add a lot of flowers. Okay, so I barely have any more paint left here. I'm just lightly touching around that dog area here because that area looking kind of a little emptier. So I'm just adding this kind of a line here to make it look like there is also some grass around this area too. Okay, I also apply a little touch of light green in the middle of this road here. Alright, so now I kind of little messed up here because I did not realize that I'm not even recording my painting here. Somehow my battery died again. So I was working on this background, the sky area here, and I just apply a little bit of yellow first, and I feel like it's too dark. So what I did is I add just a little bit of white here and just cover the whole sky with the white and the yellow here. That's all I did with the sky. And for the field area right here, I also add some yellow, and I use my small flat brush. Alright, so basically what I did is I take yellow paint and dab like this to create this type of texture for the flowers. And again, remember the lines earlier that I added? I'm not adding any flower on that area, just adding flower around, just in between those two lines, all those lines I mean. Alright, so now behind the dog here, there is also a little flower field here, so I'm also adding the yellow there too. And as I'm coming closer, I'm mostly adding more flower on the top here, and on the bottom area here I'm lightly just dabbing like this because I don't want to cover the whole area on the bottom with the yellow, because I'm also going to use yellow color for the bigger flower that are closer. Now my whole painting is a yellow bright painting, I want to say. So I'm gonna use a lot of yellow for this painting. Alright, so now I'm done with the ground here, and I'm gonna apply some yellow color, just a yellow on the sky here, and it's all the clouds I'm adding here basically. And I'm still using my same flat brush and dabbing like that. Alright, now I'm also going to use this blue color, dark blue, and I'm going to add this on my sky. Now I also use a little bit of white here. Okay, and I'm doing the same thing like I did with the yellow here, just lightly touching my canvas and adding this type of dabs, trying to turn and twist my brush so that all of the lines looks different, and just adding this kind of clouds like this. I'm making the top area more darker and the bottom of the clouds is a little bit lighter, and to make it lighter I also use my finger to just make it a little bit lighter. Alright, so now I'm gonna use my purple color here to add mountains. Alright, so this is how I added my mountain here. I'm gonna add this purple color, and I also mix yellow and the purple and just a little bit of white, not too much. So again, white, purple and yellow, and I'm gonna use that for the mountain that are all the way in the back here. Okay, now this part is kind of a little hard to explain, but there is also this water between these two mountains here, so that's why I'm just using white. And I just did like one layer for now. I'm just gonna let that dry a little bit. I'm gonna go back and make it a little bit more bright white later. Alright, so now I'm working on adding some trees, and right now I'm just adding the tree trunks, and I'm just using my brush like this, and I'm adding like vertical lines here. Alright, and I use the same color again. I just use that yellow, purple and the white mixture. Alright, now I'm gonna add sun. My plan is to just make a nice bright white sun here. I'm using again my same flat brush here. It's just easier to use this flat brush. Now I'm gonna have to do at least like maybe 3-4 layers on this white sun, because my background is yellow and it's gonna be hard to see this color with the white here. Alright, I'm gonna let that dry. Now I'm gonna work on more mountains. Alright, so I'm gonna add this purple mountain again. This is a little bit closer than the last one that I added here, and I just use white and the purple for this mountain here. Now I'm gonna change the color later here for this mountain. I'm gonna make it kind of bluish, because I'm also gonna add one more mountain that is again a little bit closer to that one, and that is also purple color. Alright, so I'm just working on this last mountain I have here, and it's just a little hill there, and I use purple again. I just use light white, just a little bit of white with this purple to make this color pop a little bit. But again, I'm gonna go back on this mountain again to just add one more layer with slightly little different shade of these colors. Okay, so now I'm gonna start working on adding the shape of these trees now. So basically I'm just using purple again and adding this type of a tree trunk again, and adding this type of leaves and the branches again. And I also apply a little bit of blue on the ground here too. And again, I have to fast forward this specific painting video, because I add a lot of tons of layers on my painting here, and I'm gonna go a lot of time on this each area again to just add more layers here for the sky, for the sun, and also for those flowers here. Alright, so my painting now here is dry. This is the second day. Now I'm gonna use one more product here. Now you don't have to use this. I am just gonna use this, and let's see how it goes. So I got this from Michael's. I'm gonna still put the link down below. If there is a different place you can buy this. It's just a glazing medium, and I'm just gonna tone down a little bit for all the colors I have in the background. I'm just gonna try to make it a little bit lighter than what I have here. It's gonna be bright at the end too, but I still wanna just bring it down a little bit so I can add more layers here. Alright, so I just take a little bit of this glazing medium, and I'm just gonna mix it with just a white acrylic paint here. So this much of glazing medium I have here, I'm just gonna take like maybe just a tiny little white here, not too much, and I'm gonna mix the whole thing, and then I'm just gonna apply on my whole canvas. I'm not gonna apply this on the dog here, just the background area. And this is the product I'm using first time, so that's why I said that we'll see what happens, but I think I like it. So do you see how bright my painting was before? Now I just used this one product here with just a dot of white color, and my whole painting looks a little bit light. Okay, so but again I'm just gonna go back again with those similar color that I used before to add more layers. Alright, so here I add a little bit more white here again on my sun, and I'm also gonna use this white to add more clouds here now, like this. I'm using my smaller brush this time. Okay, so I added some clouds. Again, I'm gonna use just my finger here to just light some of the area here, but I'm just following like a little circular kind of motion here to add these clouds on this painting. Alright, so now here again I'm gonna go back on this water area here. I have maybe river, you can say, here between these mountains. So now I think you can see water here clearly. And again I'm gonna go back on those mountains again to just add one more layer here, and I'm also adding a little bit of white on this mountain. And when I apply that pink kind of a light purple on the mountain here, I also go over the clouds and add a little touch of this pinkish purple on the clouds too. Okay, I'm gonna again go back on all of the areas here just to add one more layer, and this is gonna be a little bit more brighter. And here I also add a little bit of white on this blue mountain. And I also go back on that darker purple mountain here again to just make it nice and darker, and I just use purple this time. And after I was done applying that, I just add a little touch of white on the top of the mountain, and just I go back on the tree again, but not everywhere this time, just on some area to just bring some of the tree a little bit closer. Okay, so I'm gonna go back on this flower again, and I'm applying some green, And I just mixed a little bit of water and that mint green, and I'm just applying that everywhere on the flower area again. So now do you see how green it looks? That's what I was going for, because I'm gonna go back again and add more yellow flowers later. Alright, so now here I'm using gray color to add this path area, the road I have here. And then I just add a little touch of white to here so that it's slightly little brighter and easily to see the road here with everything is going around in this painting. Alright, I'm gonna use more green, and I'm gonna work on the bottom of this area here. I'm using blue and green, both of the colors. It's slightly little different shade of the green that I have in the background than what I have in the background. And basically I'm adding this type of dabs here to just make a kind of a little messier look on the bottom. I don't know how else to say this. So again, I started with the blue and green, and then I also use a little bit of brown too here. Okay, so now I also use this blue color on those yellow area too. So basically I'm gonna go on each area between those two lines, and I add just a little touch of this blue, and this is gonna work as a shadow of these flowers. Alright, so now here, as you can see, I'm adding some brown, and this was a little bit darker brown here. So I'm still dabbing, and I just use my bigger brush here now and just use a little bit of white and just kind of basically you can say I just go over that area and just trying to blend it this way, because that wasn't working out for me. So I try to do it this way, and again I go back again and start dabbing again to just slightly give a different look. So basically I'm just playing around with the colors here for the bottom area, especially here. Alright, so now it's time to add more flowers again, and this time I'm gonna add some bigger flowers. So I'm using my small flat brush and just adding this type of a shape for the flower. And I'm gonna just add all of the flowers here first, and then I'll show what I do next. And I'm gonna do at least like 3 layers here, to be honest, because my background is really dark. And to make this flower pop out a little bit, I'm gonna use slightly a little bit of white too here. So again, I'm gonna do at least like 2 layers here for all of the flowers first before I do the next step. Okay, here I'm all done with adding these flowers. I'm gonna go over those other flower that are in the background here, and I'm still using my same flat small brush, and I'm just adding a little touch of this yellow flower here. So I'm not going everywhere this time. I'm mostly going on the edges to just give a little definition on this area here, and just lightly adding in the middle area here. So adding more again on the top line on this field and less on the bottom. Alright, so now you can see a big difference here. You can clearly see the line in the middle. And now I'm gonna go over with the larger brush this time. And I'm just using water and white paint here. And lightly just adding that type of dabs, just mostly on the top of the area, top of the flowers. Not going everywhere again, just slightly dabbing so you can see the yellow and white, both of the colors here. Okay, now I'm also going to do the same thing with the darker yellow I have. So I have two yellow, lighter yellow and darker yellow. If you don't have the darker yellow, you can also just mix the yellow and just a little touch of orange here. And you're gonna get this color here. So you can see the difference again. This is the darker yellow I'm using. I'm done with the yellow. I'm also gonna do the same thing with the orange this time. So I'm gonna mix the water and a little bit of orange color here, and I'm gonna do the same thing again. So do you see how I'm just adding a little bit of paint here first and using my finger to just make it a little bit lighter? Alright, so now again you can see the yellow, orange and the white, all of the colors here. Okay, so here I have to go back on those flowers again to just add one more layer to make it a little bit more brighter because it wasn't still too bright. So now after I was done with this, I just mixed a little bit of orange, white color here, and I'm gonna apply that on this flower. Now I started with the darker orange here first. So this is how I'm gonna apply first. And then I go back again to just make it a little bit lighter here. So basically I'm just using a clean brush here, taking a little bit of water and just kind of removing the paint from there. So remember I said I'm gonna just make a lot of mistake on this painting, and then well, I don't want to say mistake, but I just kind of just go with the flow, to be honest. I just try something. If I don't like it, it's just very easy to remove the paint, or if it's hard for you to remove, you can just let it dry completely and apply any color you like on top. So that's the best part about using acrylic paint. So that's what I did here. I just used a little bit of water here and remove that dark orange from there. And I also have my paper towel. You cannot see the paper towel in my hand, but I also use a paper towel. And that way I made that orange slightly a little bit lighter here. I'm gonna use more yellow now, and basically I'm adding like 3 petals or 2 petals, depends on the size of the flower here. So as you can see here, for the bigger flower I'm just adding 3 petals, one on each side and one in the middle. Now I know it's hard to see this because I'm using yellow on yellow, but I am using slightly little bit darker yellow than the last time I used. And I'm pretty sure you must be tired of me using yellow for this painting. I don't know how many times I said yellow for this painting here. Alright, so again, basically all I did is just add 2 lines, 1 line on each side. So 1 line on the left side, 1 line on the right side, and 1 line in the middle. Okay, so that's all I'm doing right now. Okay, so now here I'm just using black paint to just add the center of this flower. So I'm not going over the darker yellow that I just added, and just applying basically just the center of this flower here now. Alright, so now I'm gonna add some orange on the petals that I just added. So again, the other side of the flower, I'm not adding any orange there. I'm just adding orange on the my side of the petals. I hope that makes sense. Alright, so because again it's all shadows, so it's gonna be slightly a little bit darker than the top part. Alright, I also did the same thing, and I also add a little bit of white too, mostly on the top of the flower and also back of the flower too. Alright, now here I'm gonna start adding the stems here, and I'm just using darker green. If you don't have the darker green shade, then just mix your green and a little bit of brown or the black color together to get slightly little different shade of the green. And I'm also gonna add some orange flower later, so I'm also adding stems for those flowers too. And as you can see, I'm just using green right now. Alright, now this part is gonna make a huge difference here. I'm just gonna use black color and just adding a little touch of this black on the inside of that petal. So basically on the left side I'm adding black on the right side, and on the left side I'm adding black on the right side. So that way this is gonna work as a shadow on these flower stems. And basically I'm just adding black where my flower is leaning too. So if it's leaning on the right side, I'm adding a little bit of black on the right side. Alright, so I add just a little bit more stamps here for the orange flowers. So here I'm just using orange color and adding this type of a small flower here. And one last thing I'm gonna do here is on this orange flower, I'm also gonna add just a little touch of white on the top of the flower, so it's all gonna be the lighter part of the flower. Alright, so I add just a little touch of white on the top of the flower, and also I add white on this yellow flower. I'll show you later what I did exactly, because I also missed that part to show you on this painting, on this video I mean. And I also feel like to add more flowers, a little bit more on the topper area here too. So I just add more flower on the top. Okay, so now this is the part I was talking about. Do you see how I add a little bit of white on the top of the flower? And top of this, each petal, I added this type of white and just use my finger on the bottom of the line to make it slightly a little bit lighter. Alright, so yeah, I'm all done with this painting. I hope you guys all have fun watching me painting this cute pet video. And again, if you miss my pet painting video, that's the first painting I painted, you can go watch my first video for that. But yeah, I'm all done with this painting, and thank you so much guys for watching all of my video. And don't forget to like this video if you like this video, and also subscribe to my channel if you are new to my channel again. And I will see you next time whenever we paint again together, maybe something easier than this painting. Alright, bye.